So when it comes to how long you should diet, of course, there's a lot of different factors. And I think the most common question is there a certain amount of time that is too long to cut? And honestly, there isn't necessarily a length of time that is too much. It just depends on a lot of different factors, with one of them being how much weight do you have to lose? Of course, if someone has 100 pounds to lose versus someone who's just trying to drop maybe 10 pounds, these are very different situations. The person who only has a little bit of weight to lose may only diet for 6, 8, 12 weeks and they'll be fine. The person who has a lot of weight to lose might end up dieting for 6 months, even a year plus in some instances. But one of the biggest things is going to be how well you're adhering to the plan and how you're feeling throughout the process. Remember, your metabolism is going to slow with dieting. There's no way around this. So you're going to make a lot of hormonal and metabolic adaptations that are going to make the process more difficult as your body starts to fight you more and more the longer you do things. But as long as you can continue to adhere and see results and continue to make adjustments, then there's not necessarily a reason that you have to stop, as long as you can reasonably continue to do this. But the worst thing you can do is if you're just not adhering, if you're having a really hard time with things, your body's fighting you, you're feeling miserable, you're binging and all that type of stuff, do not drop your calories at this point. Like if you already can't adhere, dropping your calories more makes zero sense. It's only going to make it that much worse. Not only that, but you have to consider things like your diet history. What's your relationship with food look like and things like that. Like if you're already in a bad spot mentally, if your relationship with food suffers, if you really struggle with body image and all these things that need to be worked on, you don't want to diet going into that. It's only going to make things worse. You need to work on improving those things first and mentally getting yourself in a position where you can succeed versus trying to force a diet into it. I promise you that's not going to end well. Now, the other thing to factor in is what type of approach are you taking? Are you taking a more aggressive approach or a more slower, more sustainable approach, taking things like diet breaks and things like that? So if you're taking the faster approach, you don't want to do this unless you don't have a lot of weight to lose. Like if you're just trying to make a quick cut back, get in and get out, that can work in some cases. If you have a lot of weight to lose, trying to rush the process is almost certainly going to end with you getting stuck, frustrated, and end up giving up. And I don't want that for you. So you always have to consider that. Most of the time, you're better off taking a slower approach, including things like refeeds, diet breaks, taking your time and not trying to rush things. Then you need to factor in how you're feeling. Can you reasonably make adjustments when you get to plateaus? Because like I said, metabolism adapts. You're going to hit a plateau. It's unavoidable. Now, can you continue to make adjustments? Remember, you want to eat as many calories as possible and do as little cardio as possible while seeing results. So when the body does adapt, you can make these adjustments and keep it going. Now, another thing that can help some people, not everyone, is to create a schedule for your cuts. So you can go into it and say, okay, I'm going to diet for say 16 weeks or whatever it be. That can help with focus and mentally keeping you in it, knowing that the end is coming at a certain point. Whereas if it's open-ended and you're not really sure, it can feel like, oh man, this thing's never gonna end. You know, what's the point of sticking to things as well because I got so long to go? And what ends up happening is you have a lot of struggles, a lot of ups and downs, and it just makes things take that much longer. You have to get that much more aggressive because your metabolism is still gonna adapt down to these lower calories, even if you have a lot of ups and downs. And it just makes things take forever, and it just turns into this really difficult thing. So if you're someone who struggles with that, creating a schedule can help. But that doesn't work well for everybody. Some people can do much better. And I find as a whole, if you can avoid a schedule and just be objective with yourself and make the necessary adjustments when they need to be made, this leaves you a lot more room for flexibility and making the adjustments as necessary to get you the best possible results. So you need to kind of know yourself well. So this strategy works a little bit better typically if you don't have a lot of weight to lose and you're just trying to get in and get out, but it can still be helpful in some cases, even if you have a lot of weight to lose, to say, okay, I'm going to go after it for X amount of time, and then I'm going to stop, I'm going to reverse out, I'm going to take a break for a while, and then I'm going to come back and cut later to get more of it off, rather than feeling like you have to just go and lose 100 pounds all at one time. That's going to be a really difficult thing to do, and something that keeps people stuck all the time is feeling like they have to get all the way there. It's really difficult to lose a lot of weight in one attempt, especially if you're trying to keep it off, like I hope you are. It's just the body is so adaptive. It's going to fight you so hard. It becomes really difficult to do, especially with a longer history of dieting. So that's a big thing. Like, don't get stubborn. Do not feel like I have to get to this X weight. I have to get down to this certain clothing size, whatever it may be. Remember, you have your whole life ahead of you. Do not rush this. Do not fall into the all or nothing approach. And it has to be a lifestyle, and you can never forget this. So I know that doesn't directly answer the question. And truthfully, like I said, there is no max amount of time. Now, it's very rare for someone to diet for more than about a year. I mean, that's really a long time. And most of the time we want to try to stop right around 6 months maybe, but there's so many different factors. And as long as you're sticking to the plan, you're feeling okay, then there's no reason you can't keep going. But just know and realize when the body's giving you the warning signs, things like you're just exhausted all the time, you're super food focused, starving all the time, having binging tendencies, and really having a hard time sticking to the plan. All these different things that are your body telling you that it's done, make sure you listen. Now with that being said, a common question is, well, how many calories is too low? Well, I answered that question in this top video, so make sure you check that one out next. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you in that other video.